Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today will be today I'll be explaining about if else statement and parameters. So now we'll talk about parameters. So parameters are something that we write in this brackets. So using parameters, we can give data to the function, and using the data, we can make the function return a value. So let's say this function we created here, it will only add the score by 1. What if you want uh, the score to be added by 2 or 10? In some places, like in the update function you want it to add by 2, and in the start function you want it to add by 10. With the so so if you want it like that, you need to use a parameter. So here we need to type int, because we're using, because score is an int, so we have to type int. And you can name the variable whatever you want, but I'm just going to name it value. And now you have to take this value and put it here instead of 1. So now you can see there's a red underline here. It's because there's nothing here. So here you can type how much you want the score to be added. So let's say 10. So now let's see how that works. So let's go back to Unity, wait for it to compile. This will take some time. Okay, so now let's go to our game object. And the score is currently 10, and we're gonna add it by 10, so which will be 110. So if we run, and look, it shows 110 just as expected. So for parameters, not only int you can also use string, float, int, and all of the types. And for string, you can just make it like this. You have to type string and say print value here, and instead of these I'll just put print value. And you can make how much ever parameters you want, so you can keep a comma here and add another one like this, string print value 2, and let's put this here. Oh, deleted the brackets by mistake. Okay, and now let's call this function somewhere. So I'll test, and now you'll have to add these quotations and write your string. So I'll just write hello, and and that's the first parameter. For the second parameter, you can just add a comma and add these things, because this is a string, and string needs these quotations. So the second quotation I'll just make it hi, and now let's go back to Unity and see how that works. Wait for it to compile. Okay, now if we run, it prints hello and hi. So now I'll be talking about if statements. So if statements are used for checking conditions. So for example, if the player got 200 score, then the player would win. So we need a condition for that. To make a if statement, you have to first type if and then put two brackets, and then under it write two curly brackets. So this is where the condition is. This area is where the condition is, and this is the body, whatever is inside these two curly brackets. So here I can say if the score is equal to 200. So now you can see that there's a red underline because you need to instead of equal to, you need to type two equal to's if it's a if statement. So now let's just print. So whatever we write here will be executed if this is true. So let's print player win. Okay, so now let's test that. So let's go back to Unity. Wait for it to compile. This will take some time. Okay, so right now the score is 100, and when I run, wait for it to compile. Okay, so right now it's showing nothing. So now if I make this 200, you can see it showed player win. So not only equal to you can also use less than, greater than, this is less than, this is greater than, or greater than or equal to 200, and less than and equal to 200. And also if you put this little thing and then an equal to, it means if score is not equal to 200. So you can use all of those symbols if you like. And you also do one more thing, which is else. So else, so this is how you can write else. You don't need to write any condition here. So it's like if this is not true, then we'll go here. If okay, so if it's not equal to 200, then let's print game over. Game over. So now let's go and test this. Let's play. Now you can see it's saying game over because the score is 100. So if I make this 200, it will now say player win. And if it's not 200, it will say game over. Game over. And there's also one more thing. It's called if, I mean else, if, and this one has a condition. So here we can say it's like another condition. So if this is not true, it will go here, and if this is also not true, it will go to the end. So if the score is equal to 100, let's just say that the player reaches to level 2 or something. So uh, print level 2. So if the score is equal to 100, it'll print level 2. So let's go back to Unity and see how this works. Wait for it to compile. And now let's start. Okay, so now the score is 100 and it's printing level 2. If I make it 200, it'll print player win. And if I make it 0, which is not 200 or not 100, it'll print game over. And there's one more thing. Let's say that the score is equal to 200, uh, and let's say uh, and so now we can put two conditions. So let's say that uh, the speed is equal to 0. So now here, if the score is equal to 200 and the speed is equal to 0, this will happen. Else it will go to this condition and then that and so on. And before that, let me make this public. Okay, so now let's go and test this. Wait for it to compile. Compiling will always take a long time. You just need to wait. Okay, so now let's run. So now if I change this to 200, it's not saying player win because speed is 2.5. If I make this 0, you'll say that player is win. And also there's one more thing. If you go back, instead of and, you can also make or, which is these two straight line kind of thing. This means or. So if the score is 200 or the speed is 0, then it will print this. So now let's test it. Wait for it to compile. Okay, and let's run it. Okay, so now if I make this 200, you can see that it's saying player win. But now if I make this 0 and then make this also 0, it's still saying player win because only one of them has to be true if it's an OR. And there's also one more type of variable. It's called the boolean. So the boolean is basically just a true or false variable. It can only store whether one thing is true or false. So to make the variable, you have to type bool fully in lower letters, uh, lower case, and then you can name this variable whatever you want. I'm just going to name it uh, win. So this is just going to check whether the player won or something. So this let's set it to false. So you can make it false or you can set it to true. Just gonna make it false. False. So now here we made this code here. So here when printing player win, let's say uh, so let's say win is equal to true. Else here, let's say it's when is equal to false. And I'll also put it here. So if score is 200, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of the speed. So if score is 200, when will be equal to true. Let's make this public. So if score is equal to 200, it win will be equal to true. And if it's 100 or less, it will be false. So now let's test this. So let's go back to Unity. So now let's run, and you can see that there's a variable called win. It's just a checkbox here. So this is just a checkbox that you can tick or untick. So now if I make this score to 200, you can see that win has now been true, and if I make this 0, it's now false here.